Thank you. Good afternoon, evening. If you could have the slides, please. Oh, thank you. So this afternoon, I would like that after the 20 minutes talk, the feeling of belonging that you have for the InnoEnergy community, I will do a push-up afterwards. The energy community has increased big time. And like when you belong to a family, the way to increase your love, your engagement, your pride to belong to that family is because you share the successes that this family has got. Because it's a family success, it's a team success, it's not individual success. My second objective today is to enlarge your understanding of what the challenges in energy are. That you will see is not only about technology, it's not only about regulation, it's about of many other dimensions. And you as game changers, you have to master those dimensions, how they interact and are linked to each other to make the change happen. Okay? So what brings us together today here and will bring us together in the KIC community going forward? These ingenious, naive goals. We want to change the game by addressing those 6 goals and improving all of them. The energy ones, the economical ones, and the industrial ones. And it's an intergenerational type of ambition. But this is what brings us around the table, to make an impact on those 6 things. And the challenge to address those 6 objectives is multidimensional. And that's the key message of my second objective today that I want to convey to you. Whenever you address in your professional life a problem around energy, don't think only about one of the 6 dimensions that you see there. Think about the 6 dimensions interwoven and linked to each other. I take an example. 20 years back, there was no PV, there was no offshore wind, there was no onshore wind, there was not such renewable sources. But then the technology, well, started to produce something that was reliable. And then came regulation, the second dimension, and said, oh, let's promote this. So whenever somebody installs a renewable park, whether it's PV or shore or wind, let's put that into the dispatching of the energy every day before nuclear and coal and gas and water and whatever. Let's support this new technology coming up front, even if it was much more expensive, and even if we're paying for the party as citizens. Number 2 dimension. Number 3 dimension. But then I need a new business model. I need that third dimension. I need that this, compared to the previous very centralized design and grid operation, changes. And that also this distributed generation can play into the energy system. Third dimension touched. But I also need a supply chain. I also need people that are understanding how renewables work. Human capital and supply chain. Oh, and then the citizen. The citizen we always forget. We are always all very extremely happy with renewables. But please, not in my backyard. Don't put the wind farm across my garden because it makes noise, it's ugly. Put that somewhere else. I'm for renewables, but not in my backyard. So just a simple either regulation or technology only could be adopted by addressing the 6 dimensions. So please, in your life, professional life, always think about those 6 things. Because you might have the best technology in the world. If you forget about the others, your technology will not be adopted. You might have the best supply chain in case the other 5 are not adopted. So please, to be successful, to be able to change the game, let's always think in those 6 dimensions. And for this, you might need people in your team that are anthropologues or sociologues or something completely different. So let's not believe that we engineers, we can solve everything. It's not true anymore. Okay? So now let's see about the pride of belonging to InnoEnergy community. Those are the 6 dimensions. Let's see how we have contributed since 2010, where we all started with a very nice space of white paper, and we started to draw what we wanted to do, our ambitions, and we started to deliver. Let's see what has been the contribution that we have got into the 6. The first one is, you see that on the right side, it's about technology. Let's start with what is closer to our emotions. That's one of the 71 products that today, after 5 years, the energy community has created and are today adopted by the marketplace. That's one of the 71 coming out of one of you guys. I say coming out of one of you guys, bringing that in his backpack. That is, again, in the next 7 years, those 71 products, 3 billion euros of revenues. That's the best proof that you are changing the game. If there are people willing to pay for the product that you are deploying into the market. That's one of them. You see the current technology, a big mast that is measuring the wind resource. It costs 15 million bucks. What we have created costs 1 million. It's a floating LiDAR that you can tow whenever you want across the seas to measure the wind resource. And the journey that we have done as InnoEnergy and the people, because at the end, as we'll see in many of my talks, is all about people, is that everything started back in 2011 with a project where you today, some of you are already working in companies. Well, what about using the ecosystem, the InnoEnergy community as your platform to develop not only your company, but also the ecosystem itself? So there was a project awarded. Then people, the dimension of people, already from the beginning involved, is all about people. Innovation is not about technology, it's not about money, it's about people at the end of the day. Then the prototype was created in 3 years afterwards. The prototype was then carried out by one of our PhD students, Rajai, that decided to create a company to start selling what we just saw, that has been developed by those guys upstream. The product was validated by the big certificators, otherwise it's very difficult to sell. And then the first big contract, 2016, in a 2011 journey. That's the second message. In energy, everything takes time. So don't get crazy about not having an impact tomorrow. It takes time. The average age of the entrepreneurs in the ecosystem of Kick Energy is 38 years old. It's not bad or wrong, good or wrong. It's just the way it is. You need to have the comprehension of the whole system, and you have to have patience to make an impact. And something very important that Claudio said. Well, we invest, but there's a return for InnoEnergy, because we want to keep on creating what we have been doing for the last 5 years, and to be independent from the drug of the public money. A second example, graphene, ultracapacitors. As you know, in batteries, there are two main variables, density and power. Ultracapacitors, they are extremely performant in both dimensions. And the beauty is that the graphene, per gram, in 1 gram, you have got 2,000 square meters of active surface. Well, two crazy guys from Estonia, I can't remember the names. That's their journey. And that's what we invested, and that will be kicking back. That's the proof of the pudding of the impact. But this is the complete journey that has happened in the energy ecosystem, in the energy community. And that's just the dimension of technology. So, okay, we have contributed 71 of those to make the game change. Second dimension, regulation. I just took an example before with renewables. Grid storage. As you know, now we have all renewables production going on. But renewable production is intermittent, so you need something that will be able to buffer the production of renewables into the grid. That's a problem everywhere in the world. And there, Europe is again the one in the early adoption of this kind of function in the system. The problem is that regulation is different. The color depicts the difference of regulation per country. Europe again is making a mistake of fragmenting the way we approach the new functions in the energy system, or the function at all. What Kick Energy is doing, again, contributing to solve the problem, is trying to convince by examples of technology and business models the regulators, so the color will be the same all across the European countries. Because you as game changers, you need a 400 million consumer market. You don't need the fragmentation of 80 and 40 and 100 and whatever. You need one. But to be able to allow for this non-fragmentation, you have to think when you are in your own jobs, in your professional life, about this dimension extremely dearly. Okay? So also contribution from InnoEnergy into regulation. So we are discussing, and again, who is InnoEnergy? Well, it's, at the end, is the ecosystem, is a community. We're discussing regulators to make one color in that specific function of the grid storage across Europe. The third one, my favorite, societal appropriation. So today you, your parents, your family, in terms of the maturity of the understanding of the energy system, we are here. We have been for decades users, not customers. We didn't have the choice of buying a kilowatt here, a kilowatt there, or a therm here, a therm there. We're just using. Now they're telling us, hey, you're becoming a prosumer. You're going to become very intelligent. And they just put all those buzzwords into the TV, into the marketing, whatever, say, hey, you should go towards being able to be an active player in those buzzwords. Well, we're unable, because we're here. So what we're doing in InnoEnergy, and we're going to invest a lot of money, and that's in the hundreds of millions of euros, is to bring the citizen from this level of today, basically, we're not even aware of what energy means, into a level of understanding, involvement, and steering. And there, when we bring the citizen up here, then they will be able to handshake with the commercial offers and to become prosumer, demand response, VPPs, you name it. Again, never forget the citizen, the user, when you think about what you will be doing in your professional life. You could have the best technology, you could have the best regulation. If the citizen is not adopting it, then it will fail. Third dimension. So what we're doing, what we're doing, if you now hear in the press in the world about PIMBs, it will be a InnoEnergy trademark is please in my backyard. 2 push-ups. And what it does, we start very early. And already somebody said, hey, we start at the children's phase. So we make the children play with energy. So they understand when they will become afterwards to school and to the undergrads and to the grads that they don't have a religion, they just have factual information in order to address the energy problems in a very wide and open approach, among many things. Okay, so 3 dimensions. 4th dimension is about the business models. Because the technology allows different business models, then there should be new players in those business models. But everybody is risk averse because they are new. So what InnoEnergy does is about launching ourselves business models that nobody is willing or wishing to take the risk with. We are putting a lot of money to create functions in the value chain, the energy value chain, that nobody is daring to take. And that's a first in Europe and in the world. It's called the market creator. And again, when we say InnoEnergy, we are nobodies. We're just 100 executives with big pockets. It's always the people that they are behind in institutions, in the education programs, in the startups that are behind all those things. That is where the community is. So the pride of belonging to the community is because you belong to those, the same family that has been able to achieve all those things. That's an example. I will not cover it. But that will happen in each one of your countries. When you get to decentralize generation, many people that have got either the economic power or the intellectual power to generate their own consumption, they will get out of the grid. And the grid will have to be paid for those that cannot. It's what is called the unfairness, the social unfairness on the grids. So those that can, because of intellectual or economical means, will generate their own needs. The ones that cannot, they will stay in the grid. But the grid will have to be paid by those that stay. Social unfairness. Technology implying social unfairness. Again, multidimensional. Please think always multidimensional. Okay, but I don't touch, and well, I will not touch because we are running out of time. Okay, so it's 4. And now I go to human capital. That's all about us. Some examples that you know some of them. The Bill Clinton Global Health, our dear friend that is showing in all the in all the pictures. The kids, Govinda, and this is key. Some of you have been into the Iberdrola Global Challenge. The Global Challenge, Iberdrola puts, hey, what's going to happen in 2040 in the energy world? And they mobilize 50 KIC students, 50 MIT students, and 50 UCLA students from California. And guess what? The KIC students beat big time MIT and UCLA. And then we put the microphone to this innovation manager of Iberdrola. Why? Why is it different from the KIC students? They say 3 things. First, they are able to work in teams, whereas Americans, it's pretty individuals. And today the problems are systemic and global, and the Americans, they just try to solve themselves instead of working in teams. The second thing they say you are best at is they are multidisciplinary and lateral thinkers. They don't only think about the technological solutions and scientific solution to the problem, they just think absolutely lateral and out of the box. Whereas the MIT and UCLA ones, they are pretty much focused on what they know best. And the third thing is the multiculturality. By bringing a Brit with a South African, with the Polish, whatever, this has a value in itself. It's an opportunity. It's not a drawback. It's a plus. Again, 50-50-50. The KIC students beat big time the others. It is about, and somebody said before, the first speaker after Claudio is, hey, it's about the next generation. It's an investment for the next 30 years that we are making. Finally, supply chain, the last of the 6 dimensions. Today, the supply side is money and is the ability of manufacturing. I will focus on money. The current incumbents, the ones that were putting all the money for you to research, for you to develop new things, their muscle, their financial muscle, is gone. So if you look at the balance sheets of the big guys, they don't have money anymore. It's like what they had like 5-6 years ago. Their credit rating is downgraded big time, so they don't have the ability to go into debt to continue their growth. So who is going to pay for the innovation? Who is going to pay for the new research? If the ones that were paying before are not there anymore with the muscle. Think about this also. So what we have been doing in InnoEnergy is not only we have leveraged venture capital and that size of money, but also we are raising a fund of $250 million to support what the community members will be doing. But that's a danger in our sector, that the guys with the money are not anymore around. Okay? So in all, summary, that's one of my objectives. Please expand your view of what is key for you to be successful and for you to change the game. It's not only about technology. And all this has happened in something that is the InnoEnergy community, the InnoEnergy ecosystem. That the only thing that we have built, and you are members of it, and you have to enrich it, and you have to feel the pride of belonging to it, is that is trusted, and we are here for the impact. We are here to change the game. It's very basic, but extremely to the point. Everything has happened into this ecosystem, and you are the ones that are here. Sometimes as manpower when you're students, others as researchers when you're doing a PhD, others like, in your companies as whatever role you are. The richness of the ecosystem is always walking on 2 legs, and that's you. So conclusion from my side, what are the key success factors from the InnoEnergy journey and from my own personal life to make the whole thing to change the game? To introduce that, I'm a believer, I'm a game changer. I've created 7 companies in my life, 3 bankrupt, 1 maybe free for life, the 3 are still ongoing. When InnoEnergy recruited me, there was nothing. There was a page of paper and nothing else. And this is what we have all created. So you have to give you my top 5 things in order to be successful going forward. In a human and professional. I put first the human rather than the professional career. The first one is to be free, to implement your dreams. Nothing should neither intellectually, nor economically, nor socially be an obstacle to implement your dreams. Nothing. I remember the first company I created, I got the best advice in my life. I was 23 at the time. I said, hey, Diego, when you knock at the door of the top customer, close your eyes and remember that when this guy or woman is in the shower, he's just like you. When we are all naked, we are all the same. So when you are knocking on the door, think about this. And when you're sitting behind the big table with the big armchair that fits secretaries, also think the same. Nobody is better or worse than anybody. Feel free. The second is the values. Don't cut corners. Don't be tactical. Really have the view in the medium long term. That always pay. Don't try to cut corners. The values is what makes just you unique. The values is what makes you accepted by the others, by the community. The values is what enriches the community. The third one is be positive. I mean, you can always look at life as the negative side, the positive side. There is always the positive side. A positive member of a team is a unique value. The ones always looking at the problems or the limitations, better kill it. Kill him. Really, it's a management decision. Out. It's not the one challenging, it's the one negative that should be out of any team. The challengers are accepted. The negative ones should be out of the equation. Number 4, and you see that all the sentences start with a verb that drives you for action. Action. Number 4 is plan for impact. And myself, I do that every day. When I go to bed, what I have done. When I wake up, what am I going to do for making impact? It's what is called the short interval scheduling. Do that every day. Even if the list is stupid and naive and simple, do that every day. That creates a personality that is unique when you work, if you want to change the game. And work like hell. Success does not come in the beach. And number 5 and last, which is in the English language, which is the only word that no matter where he is in a sentence is always in block capitals. I. Well, that is very cultural. That's very Anglo-Saxon. I is not anymore trendy. What is trendy is we. And we, in both sense, is A. It's only the teams that will make it a success. And it's only the, I think it was Claudio showing it, the book of we is a transaction, but both have to win. If there's not a win-win, in the long run, it will not fly. So those are my 5 cheap recipes of key success factors for a professional life. So the objective I had is first, that you feel more proud coming out of these 20 minutes for belonging to the InnoEnergy community because of what we have achieved together. And number 2, to enlarge your view of what are the challenges and how to address them in the energy world. Please, the second one, have it always, always, always until the day you are off work. That I hope will be never. Okay, thank you.
You still stay for questions, sir? Thank you very much, Diego, for this inspiring speech. I would like to start directly with a question, if I can. And I learned this question from Dimitris. And if you have to reduce it to a few words, what is your vision?
My vision is that the next generation, so your children, because my children are already your age, that your children, the contribution of the cost of energy that today in anything you are wearing is 27%. Your shoes, the combined one is 27% is the contribution of the energy to the cost of the overall portfolio, will be zero. Zero. And it is achievable. Zero. Zero. The next generation.
And I will ask you a second question, which I learned from Dimitri's. What is your biggest challenge to get there at the moment?
Out of the 6 dimensions, and I go back to the 6 dimensions, you have seen 3 colors in the curves. That were the color in the inside was blue, that is situation today, the contribution of each dimension to situation today. The second one is orange, 2025. The last one is green, is 2035. And the ones that needs to do the longest journey is a citizen, so it's us, and regulation. And we say us is, I take back an example, renewables, fucking good. The windmill, fucking far away. And I guess that nobody would say, please, a windmill in my place. And boom, 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 boom. Again, we are observers. We are too much observers. And I put myself the first. We are too much observers. We are too much, like we say in Spanish, hey, torero, yes, closer to the bull. So you're sitting up there, okay? So it's, no. We have to be much more, walking the talk and not, Chinese, you should not consume coal. Hey, the poor guys, they need to have a growth in their economy. They need to have a good health system. Yeah, but don't, because we're in Europe and cozy. No. The citizen is, for me today, the toughest.
And I'm
journey.
going to ask you a last question, which I learned from Dimitri's, and you partly actually already answered this question.
I mentored Dimitri for 3 times, and just is everything.
How can we support you?
Feel free. Chase your ambitions and deliver. Again, you have got no obstacles. Obstacles are always here. Never here. Never. Believe me. You have not seen in any of the objectives to be rich or to become rich. Never. If you look for money, you'll never get it. If you don't look, you will look for impact, you will get the money.
And I want to open the questions to the floor if somebody else wants to ask questions. Down here.
So one question I learned from Falco. No, I want to ask something very basic. So I want to imagine yourself being a 23, 24-year-old Diego, and you have already seen the events that we did. What would you do differently, and when would you focus more for this year?
Well, I'm not look at every one of them, but with Claudio, I'm challenging Claudio, not being negative, but challenging Claudio every single time I meet Claudio. The different segments, you are a segment that you are students and justly graduated or first or second year. By bringing the children and the seniors into those events, you multiply by 3 the impact. On your own, on the ones coming, and on the ones going. Bring the others around. Bring the others around. You are a generation that you are changing many things, but you have to change us also. You have to change us also. And the only way to change is by friction. By friction. And the ones coming will change you.
Any further questions?
First of all, thank you for your talk. Very inspiring. One of the goals that almost. One of the goals of InnoEnergy is that you want to become financially independent.
Yep.
And I don't remember exactly who said it, but then we don't have to bother with politicians again. I think in the end of the day...
Public money. Politicians always, because regulation. Public money.
Public money, okay. In the end of the day, I think a lot of the stuff that we create is societal value, also for people who cannot afford it. One of the things you said is that one of the best indications of actually validating value is that it's willingness to pay. So shouldn't we engage with people and with politicians to show what we do, and then they say, wow, we should invest even more so that you can do more work with InnoEnergy?
Well, on this, just to give you something that will not come out of this room, not even Claudio knows it. It's Claudio said, "Hey, Elon Musk should be here in 1 year time, just pitching to us." Well, maybe in 1 year time, I don't know if you are aware about the Breakthrough Energy Coalition. Breakthrough Coalition is COP21, Paris, big success. It's extremely good French diplomacy. So all the countries, the big guys, just signed 150, 185 out of 200, whatever. And then Bill Gates said, "Hey, Bill Gates, I just called my friends. Hey, how many billions should we mobilize of our own money?" Bill Gates and the others, and engaged G20 to make this a reality. And then they start. And surprise, surprise, maybe you will see that those big guys, the reputed guys, the role models, they will sign together with Geek Energy in the short term that we are one of their implementers. And again, it's not because it's what for we, I mean, they want to belong to our ecosystem, to our community, because of what we have achieved in 5 years. Guys, you're all starting a business. What we have achieved all together in 5 years, there's not much. There is no much. And those guys, they are gonna mobilize from their pockets 30 billion, and then this, 1 to 7 to the G20 public budgets. So we're talking about massive money. And the question would be, even if we get as a partner of this, the 1%, that will be another 3 billion. In what are we going to use it? Hey, not an easy question, eh? Because still we want to make impact. I mean, we don't want to burn money on the table. We want to make an impact. But it might be coming soon.
Thank you.
Just another example. Elon Musk, well, he is SCM, Supply Chain Manager, Peter Carlson, and two of his staff, Paolo and Carl-Eric, they have resigned. They have joined InnoEnergy. They are talking in Barcelona in 1 month's time, in the TBB. And we're going to build a gigafactory, like in the Nevada one, 32 gigawatt hours. That is 1/3 of the global production, manufacturing production in the world, in Sweden. So we're changing the game. 1/3 of the worldwide battery manufacturing.
Okay, more questions?
Well, this is a lot of good news. One question you said with the 30 billion that is coming into Kick.
30 billion.
30 billion, the money that will be transferred later on when yeah.
That's to be positive.
I mean,
Overly positive.
I mean, to the community. What I meant is, through the journey, what we have in 2 years is a lot of education. And that's good. But we don't really have the hands-on experience to build companies. To build companies in which Kick students, they learn from what they've studied to get these things into the market and to make the impact and to pay back a little bit of what they've been funded for the community and the InnoEnergy again. So what we are doing now is we are educating these nice brains around and then we let them go. So why we are not giving them the challenge, the proper challenges to build up companies that will help this thing to keep on going?
I wouldn't say why we don't give. When I finished my university, I started my own company. Nobody pushed me to do it or not to do it. I mean, that's absolutely an internal decision to build, to work 25/7 for 3-4 years, not having any family at all. So I'm just bringing them the ecosystem. And the ecosystem is unique. But I will not push them to do anything that they don't want. we challenge. Spoon feeding is not in our DNA, and it will never be, by the way. So we expose the potential game changers to the game they would eventually change. We give them the ecosystem that is, again, unique and is trusted. So the big guy will never screw the small guy. And we have several services to support him in case he wishes. But the challenge, I mean, the graphene guys, I tell you, they found the challenge themselves. It was nobody telling them, hey, look at the graphene because it's 2,000 square meters per gram of active surface. You will never find an ecosystem like the InnoEnergy one that whenever you have the need, I need the lab 4, Swedish lab. I need the first early adopter, Polish whatever. I need overnight. And that we do. But the challenge I want to address is absolutely your call. Absolutely your call. We'll never have yearly challenges. We have roadmaps where we believe that there is a case to make an impact. That's about it.
Last question, unfortunately, because we are running out of time.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very excited about the introduction of education and taking kids along in the whole game-changing plan, because I believe they are the future. And I believe the greatest problem with energy we have globally now is with consumerism. And I just wanted to find out, to what extent do you prioritize the activities of the community, InnoEnergy, to outside Europe, other continents and whatnot? Because I believe the energy challenges are bound to rise, considering the distribution of energy resources and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, to what extent does the community prioritize projects that would affect places outside Europe?
So in terms of strategic outreach with, that's my alarm. Henrik, can you? In terms of strategic outreach, it's north of Africa and the States. And the States, you might say, oh, the States is, well, the States, they are like, sorry to say, like 20 years behind Europe. 20 years. 20 years behind Europe in all those things. So we are in north of Africa and the States. You ask me, hey, and afterwards? I don't know. I don't know. Today, for the next years, there will be big investment from InnoEnergy community and InnoEnergy ecosystem into those two areas, geographic areas.
Thank you very, very much, Diego. Standing ovations. Thank you very much.